Hi, I'm Sam Luce here with iZotope. In this video, we're going to be demystifying dynamics processing. We're going to compare the tools that we can use to control the dynamics in a piece of audio and understand when and why we should use which tool. First off, we're going to take a look at limiting. I'll be using iZotope Pro, but limiters are found across the Music Production Suite Pro offering in tools like Nectar Pro and Neutron Pro, and they work in similar ways. So what is limiting? And how can you use it to improve your audio? Well, you're about to find out. But first, start your free trial of Music Production Suite Pro to follow along in iZotope Pro. And please subscribe to iZotope's YouTube channel and be sure to hit the bell icon to be notified when we upload something new. Let's jump in. So what are limiters? And what do limiters do? Limiters are the best way for engineers and producers to stop peaks from reaching beyond a ceiling limit. This is the tool for the job when you want to avoid clipping, for example. You can set your limiter to stop any audio going beyond 0 dB and make sure your audio doesn't reach the point of distortion. Just as a compressor compresses the dynamic range, a limiter limits it. The limiter serves as a ceiling, which signal cannot pass. If the signal hits this ceiling, it will be harshly compressed so that it does not pass above. You may be wondering, if a limiter attenuates the loudest parts of a signal, how is it any different from a compressor? Well, essentially a limiter is just a compressor, but with a very high ratio. As a compressor's ratio increases, so will the amount of compression. Eventually, that compression amounts to an impermeable ceiling. Let's say, for example, that we have a compressor with a ratio of 2:1, not very high. We send 3 signals through it at levels of 2 dB, 4 dB, and 8 dB over the threshold. With this ratio, the compressor would output signals at levels of 1 dB, 2 dB, and 4 dB over the threshold, respectively. Closer to each other in level, but still not so consistent. However, if we turned the ratio up to 8:1, quite high, the compressor would output signals of 0.25 dB, 0.5 dB, and 1 dB over the threshold. These signals are now much closer to each other and much closer to the threshold itself. Eventually, as the ratio increases, the signal will not be allowed to cross the threshold, which becomes a sort of ceiling. The exact number you'll hear changes from source to source, but any compression with a ratio of around 12:1 or higher could be considered limiting. Every limiter will have at least one parameter, gain. This is used to boost signal until it hits the ceiling and is compressed. Some limiters will have an adjustable threshold level, which is also often referred to as the ceiling. If your limiter does not have this capability, you can always compensate for the added gain with a dedicated gain plugin or a channel fader. However, as limiters are mostly used in mastering as a means to bring the signal to unity gain, you'll rarely need this. Most limiters will have a release time parameter as well. This functions like a compressor's release time, determining how long the limiter will take to return to 0 compression. In iZotope, we can use the IRC settings to intelligently vary our release time depending on the source material. Not all limiters will have an adjustable attack time, however. Some, like the vintage limiter in iZotope, have connected attack and release parameters, set with the character parameter. So why use a limiter? The main use of a limiter is in mastering. The compression that they offer is so extreme that they're rarely used on the channel level. Instead, limiters are often used on the master to bring the track up to a commercial level, and through compression, commercial loudness. This final stage of compression can glue the elements of the track together and make the track louder at the same level. Remembering that our ears naturally prefer louder music, limiters provide mastering engineers a big advantage in making the track sound professional. Just be sure not to overdo limiter settings, as the added compression and eventual distortion can suck the life out of a dynamic mix. So let's hear a limiter in action. This limiter is on the master bus of this mix. The threshold currently is at 0. I'm going to bring this down and you'll hear the difference, as well as being able to see the peaks being reduced on this meter and on the graph above. Let's check it out. In order for us to remain objective about what we're listening to, we need to make an equal loudness comparison. So we can use the handy gain match feature, which will match the output when the limiter is bypassed. This allows us to remain objective with our decisions when limiting, and also make sure that we're not creeping into distortion and protecting those peaks. Another use for limiters is in a live sound setting, as a fail-safe precaution. If a loud sound occurs, one that would blow everyone's ears out, this limiter will make sure to control it. Again, these limiters are usually placed on the master channel. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to check out our Introduction to Limiters article for a bunch more information on uses and parameters for different types of limiters. Be sure to get your free Music Production Suite Pro trial now to check out the limiters in Ozone Pro, Neutron Pro, and much more. Check the link in the description to get started. I'm Sam Luce. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.